Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, former paralegal, current stay-at-home mom, lifelong lover of true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer and listener discretion is advised. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos, and let's get started on today's case. Angela Jane Bugay was only 5 years old when she went missing from Antioch, California, where she lived with her mom and brother on November 19, 1983. Susan Bugay had already lived many lives when she found herself a single mother of a 5-year-old Angela and 2.5-year-old Chris at 23. It was nothing but a G thing, baby. Susan's mom passed away when she was 8, and her father was murdered when she was 14. They were currently living at the Delta View apartment complex at 3915 Delta Fair Boulevard in Antioch, California. They were at a neighbor's apartment just 2 doors down preparing to have dinner together. Susan was making Angela's favorite food, hot dogs, and while the neighbor friend made Kool-Aid. It was raining and Chris wanted his rain boots. Their mom, Susan, agreed to let them go back to their apartment just 50 feet away and do that. Angela grabbed her strawberry shortcake umbrella, takes her brother's hand, and they head out on their little mission. About 5 minutes later, Chris comes back without Angela. Susan asked him where his sister was, and he said Angela went off and would not wait. After she had not come back in 15 minutes, Susan started calling out and looking out for her. They started knocking on doors, walking up and down the apartment complex. After searching for Angela for about an hour, they called the police. The Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department started looking for a 5-year-old girl who was described as blonde-haired, brown-eyed, a child who stood about 3.5 feet tall. She was wearing her hair in a ponytail, blue pants, black shoes, and a pink leotard, and was carrying her strawberry shortcake umbrella. It was raining. Where could she have gone? She was just a kindergartner at Turner Elementary. On November 26, 1983, less than 2 miles away from her home near the Contra Loma Reserve, members of the search unit noticed a piece of clothing sticking out of the dirt. They had found Angela's body. She was found in a shallow grave with her clothes tossed on top of her. The autopsy revealed she had been sexually assaulted, and the medical examiner listed the manner of death as a homicide and the cause of death as asphyxiation. Early on in the case, police suspected Larry Christopher Graham was involved, but he strongly denied any involvement in the case. Larry Christopher Graham dated Susan Bugay for about a month that previous summer of 1983. They met at the apartment complex swimming pool over that past summer as well. Angela trusted Larry Christopher, and he took advantage of that. When Angela went missing, he helped search for her. When her body was discovered, he went to her funeral. Just 2 weeks after that, he proposed to Susan, but she refused because she thought he was doing it out of sympathy. What she did not know was that he was probably doing it out of guilt, the guilt he felt for what he had done. 10 months after finding her body, authorities finally obtained enough circumstantial evidence and searched Larry Graham's apartment. They turned up with nothing to arrest him just yet. Larry was not the only person the police were looking into. Remember when I mentioned creepy-ass Timothy Binner in a previous episode? Yeah, him, the guy with the Shrine of Children of a van, a man who was already on the FBI's radar. And just as a reminder, he has never been charged in connection to any of these cases and is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty in court. Also, up to this point, he had no criminal record yet. In December of 1984, Timothy Binner visited Angela Bugay's grave at the Oakmont Cemetery in Lafayette, California, 80 times. 80 times, and in one of his visits, he simulated a sex act while laying on top of her grave. On June 2nd, Timothy Bittner sent Susan Bugay, Angela's mother, a letter a day before Amber Schwartz Garcia disappeared. On July 7, 1988, Timothy called Kim, Amber Schwartz Garcia's mom, saying that there could be a possible link between Amber's case and Angela Bugay's case. On January 1st of 1992, dogs tracked Amanda Nikki Campbell's scent to Angela Bugay's grave. Amanda Nikki Campbell her life will be honored in a separate episode, but just a quick summary. She was a 4-year-old girl who disappeared around the same time when she was walking to her friend's house in a neighborhood nearby in Fairfield. Animal scent dogs or bloodhounds are not completely admissible in court, just like lie detectors are not, but both are and can be used as a tool for investigators. However, DNA evidence completely excluded Timothy Bittner from the Angela Bugay's case. In October of 1995, police obtained a search warrant sample for Larry Christopher Graham. Results of the DNA test match Larry's blood to physiological evidence taken from Angela's body and clothing when she was found. 12 years after Angela is abducted and murdered on April 24th of 1996, the police finally have enough evidence to arrest 40-year-old Larry Christopher Graham thanks to new genealogical technology. As I previously mentioned, he once dated Angela's mom. This piece of shit was born on April 30th of 1951. Larry went by Chris. He was 5'7", 188 pounds. He was an alcoholic, failed airplane pilot working as a manager at a local car shop named Clutch Stop in Concord. He also had just finalized his divorce 4 days prior to Angela's disappearance. He married his ex-wife Teresa when she was just 15, and he allegedly raped her on their first date, which I 1000% believe. He also lied about his age. He is almost a decade older than her. Teresa also testified that he had pictures of Angela at his apartment and a copy of the master key to the entire apartment complex. And despite fighting for custody to see his sons, he asked her to take care of them on the day Angela disappeared. Larry Christopher Graham was already in the criminal justice system, like his father before him. Gerald Graham was also a pilot and a twice convicted child molester to even his own daughter. He also fled to Central America when he and his current wife at the time, Jane, who was also a decade younger than him, were charged with the cultivation of the devil's lettuce. DNA samples excluded him.